Y'all gotta blame Clint. Y'all gotta blame
Blame
Clint. It's
me.
Clint.
I messed it up. I'm a novice at this too. I never claimed to be a tech savvy, but here I am. We're going to all figure it out. That's the beauty of it.
But you know what happens when I'm on my phone, um,
Yeah.
it and somebody tries to call me, it kind of disrupts my live. Usually I have it
Yeah.
on silent, but I think what I did wrong was, I think it was my fault. I think I called you, and that's what messed it up. You calling me
Uh,
you calling me wasn't the issue. I think me calling you
yeah.
is what
Yeah.
messed up,
Yeah.
is what did
And
it. Yeah.
I did touched you by accident because I wanted to see if that was your number, and I
Uh-huh.
hit the camera instead of
Uh-huh.
the contact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay,
Because I
that's
got you under
Magooly.
two names.
Uh-huh. Oh, you got me under
So
two
I just
names?
yeah, I got you under one name, Jayday. Then I got you under Jason under the other one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for some reason.
So how's everything
So,
going, man? It's been a while. It's been a
uh,
while since I
yeah,
had you on the live, and
yeah, yes. I just want to jump in on a couple things if I can. I got a couple questions for you, but I just
uh-huh.
want to talk about the area. You know,
Okay. Okay.
that area. If you look on my YouTube, the Golden Eagle Homestead Services on
Uh-huh.
YouTube,
Uh-huh.
there's over about maybe about 8 or 9 different projects that started up there.
Really?
Starting from all the way down, there was a billboards. If you noticed all the way down where they're
Uh-huh.
putting those new projects in down there at the Grand Panada,
It's
all the
a
way
it's a
down to
it's a lot
bottom.
of it's a lot of projects going on up there. A lot.
Well, you can ask that. And what I'm saying is, I gave out the names and the numbers on my platform, Golden
Uh,
Eagle Homestead Services, so you can compare prices.
okay.
150 per meter,
Yeah.
200 per meter. So when
Yeah.
you're talking $30 per meter, you cannot be questioned because I put it out there for them to do their own research.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like I said,
Uh-huh.
on the Golden Eagle Homestead Services, I have the name of the billboards, I have the name of the developments and their phone numbers, so they
Uh-huh.
can reach out to them.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Okay.
and most of these are not even Ocean View, and they're asking that premium price.
That's ridiculous. That's
Yes,
ridiculous.
but there is a major push coming that way,
You
and
think
if you
you think
slow
so? You think
I
so?
know so. I know so because I'm one of the first up there, the Golden Eagle
I
Homestead.
know. Well, let me ask you, how is it looking? You got anybody building up there now?
Well, the one thing about us, is that we're small.
Okay.
We
Uh,
only have 35 lots on one side and we have 35 on the other side. And they're two different owners. And the one owner leased the property to right out front to a hardware store, and
ah,
they gave them a 5-year lease, I do believe. And a lot of people were kind of hesitant because they didn't want to put luxury homes right there
by a
with this,
hardware store.
yeah, with right there. But a lot
Yeah.
of the first 10 lots are already brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing, because I spoke with her yesterday, uh, the subgrade for the street is already put in. So we're just trying to come up with a couple dollars, and we have some discounts that we're offering so we can put in blacktop on the first 12 lots. So we're moving, but we're moving a little slow. But that's
Okay.
okay because
Mm-hmm.
we're doing it right, and it's an investment.
Right. And that's why I tell everybody, it takes, when you're making an investment, everything takes time.
Yeah,
We I'm a small guy in comparison to, these other heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
and I'm okay with that. Shout out to Magulian and Sharonda. What's going on? For those of you guys that's just joining in, be sure to hit the like, hit the share, and hit the subscribe. Be sure to hit that,
You know,
and notification bell. If in case I go live, you'll get a notification that I'm going live. Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of it is, if some people are really not sure and they're hesitant towards it, I'm not going to pressure them to buy in until a lot of these things that I know are fixed. Just like yourself, you're taking it on the chin first, so you know exactly what's going on. You know,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
so speaking about your property back there with that $30 per meter. Now, where exactly is that in
Okay.
comparison to Central Park?
Okay. So you're familiar with Puerto Plata pretty well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going towards Costamba. It's before you hit Costamba. It's before you hit
Okay.
Playa Costamba. Going. Do you know like the area going towards San Marco? That
Yeah,
area.
you're bang that left at that air place where you
That
get
that
propane.
exact. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Okay, so that takes you up into go up to Coupe. You know that it takes
yeah.
you
You gotta go down and bang a left.
exactly. So it's going once you make that left, it's
Hmm.
about it's about a 10-minute drive from there.
Okay. Well,
It's about a
you didn't get up to the swimming pool up there. That first swimming pool, you up that high
uh
because you got two swimming pools up there. They got like a little water park up top up there.
you do know. Okay, so are you familiar with that Greece theme, that Greece restaurant that they got up there? It looks like literally like Greece with panoramic views and all of that. I don't know. It must be new. If you haven't seen it, it must be
It,
it probably be new to you.
well, as you climb that mountain, let's work our way. We're climbing that mountain, going
Right.
up, and you're going to cross over a couple ditches where the runoff, where the water runs off. You know
Right.
what I mean? Where the road gets kind of, challenging
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit, and you're
Yeah.
constantly going up. Now,
Uh-huh.
is that restaurant you're talking about on the left?
It's on the left. It's on the
Well,
left.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the old water park.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now, where you
Okay.
at from there?
From there, I'm like maybe I say 3 minutes from there. Two,
Going
three.
straight up. Then it drops back down again.
Yeah, but I'm before the drop down. I'm before the
Okay.
drop.
Okay.
I'm before the drop down. You bust a left, and then you got once you make that. I'm on the left off that road. Once you
Right.
cut into a left, you've got communities in there. You've got
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not like like a gated community, but that
Yeah.
that road takes you all the way to damn near the compressed sea. You wouldn't even know that it's up there. You like because when I discovered it, I'm like, yo, Puerto Plata is so small but big. Like it's got so many nooks and crannies that you would never think. And there's like put it this way, once you pass my property, I've seen about 10 villas along the way, man. You
Okay.
know?
So you're
So
you're 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 right behind the main mountain on the left.
yes, I'm behind the main mountain. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mount
Yeah.
Isabella. That's all Yammy country. They farm yammies all up and down that mountain.
All you got is fruit trees and the people
Mhm.
that own that land, it's a family. It's like 16. The father died and left them all that land up there. And they got
Yeah.
They got turkeys, they got cows, they got all
Yeah.
kinds of fruit trees and shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
know you're at. You know,
okay.
you know, if you keep going up a little further, there's a cheese factory up there on the right hand side. You ever see him?
No.
This is go. If you keep going up, there's a cheese factory. Then there's another little swimming pool where they fight
Uh-huh.
chickens. Then if you go to the top, there's a honey farm right there where what I mean, where it's kind of uh uh what you call like I got a lot of flowers and what they call it. What I mean, where they grow flowers and stuff like
Like a,
that. And
a
they
floor
collect
a
honey.
florist shop.
Right, right
Okay.
there at the top. And
See,
if
I
you make
haven't
that, yeah. And if
No,
you make that
I
right,
haven't gone that. I haven't gone. I
yeah.
mean, I've passed up there, but I really haven't like looked too much. Next, when I go on Friday, I'm gonna make it my business to go all the way around till I reach Coupe. You know?
Well, dig the move, dig the move. If you go right at the very tip at the honey farm, you'll come right into Central Park.
Okay.
You know, they turn around in El Coupe. That's
Hmm.
the Central Park right there, where they have that big Parthenon where you turn around.
Uh huh.
That's if you make that right. But if you make that left at the honey farm, you'll go all the way up to the Jesus statue, going
Okay.
up the back of the main mountain.
The cable
Yeah.
car.
Yep, I did
Okay.
that by accident one time, man, and I wound up there, and I looked up the guy. I said, "Holy Christ!" Up, but I was just, looking around and everything. But there's a way to get up there by car.
I know. I haven't. I've seen that road.
Hmm.
Going up there. I've seen the road, but I never knew like in what direction you would take to get up there.
Yeah,
He's Magulian's asking who's your guest. His name is Clint. I've had Clint on the channel. How many times you been on the channel, Clint?
a
Clint.
couple times.
Yeah, I've had him on the channel a couple of times.
Yes,
Clint is
yes,
another part time expat who's been. Well,
yeah.
you tell him who you are, man. Tell him who you
Well,
are.
well, all my Dominican friends call me Sammy Sosa. So if you ask for that up in up in La Bohia, that's where you will find me. I
Uh-huh.
have a channel called the Golden Eagle Homestead Services. I do have a number of lots that are beautiful, beautiful location in La Bohia. That's towards the bottom of El Coupe, and it's ocean view. I have a lot of pictures, I have a lot of knowledge, and I have a lot of footage, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of contacts you
Mm-hmm.
know so that's basically who I am. I'm from South Carolina, and I run a basically I guess a flipping business. I flip and I repair houses, and I also have a land clearing business, so I'm pretty well versed in a lot of aspects of the building you know
Mm-hmm.
but over there it's a different animal, like you
Yeah.
said, because of the people that you're dealing with. There's always a middleman, and what I
Yeah.
mean. You got to go through so many hoops
And let me
to
tell you,
to you.
I'm sorry to cut you off. When you say
Yeah, go ahead.
middleman, I'm having this issue right now. Now you tell me if I'm wrong.
Right,
Now, oh, shout out to Dominican Route. What's going on? I sold a property. This is why I got to go down there on
right,
Friday. I sold the property. The client sent me his down payment because he can't make it. He
right,
wants to secure the land before anybody buys it. So I'm
right,
going down there to give the people their down payment. Right now, I it's not it, I didn't find the land. You know what I mean? The person
right,
that gave it that put us in contact with the owners. You know, she feels like you tell me if I, because I'm a fair guy. I'm a fair guy. She's telling me, that, I should give her now the total, my commission is like 3,000 pesos, 300,000 pesos, right, on it,
right,
because
right,
he's buying a lot. He's buying a lot. So now
right.
she's like,
Well,
no,
the
no,
the
let me
going
finish.
is the going is 6%,
Well, I'm five, six,
5, 6.
five,
Yeah,
six.
yeah.
So I'm
Right,
getting five. I'm getting 5%, right? So
right,
out of the 5%, she feels like she should get 100,000 out of the 300,000, and I'm just like, wait a minute, that's not how it works here. At the end of the day,
okay,
I don't have a problem giving you a finder's fee, but
right,
this is my client. This is
right,
my gas, my time. I got to pay for rental cars. I got to do the negotiations.
right.
What makes you think that you should get, almost $2,000 and you didn't do shit but just give us the contact.
Well,
I told,
what
huh?
did she do? What did she do?
You tell me. All she did was gave us the contact to the owners, to the people that own the
Uh,
land. And I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
a
yeah,
finder fee, a finder fee.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
right,
was I was willing, Clint. I was willing to give her 50,000 pesos, and I think that's a lot. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I think that's a lot. You know what I mean? But
right, right.
for you to feel like you want 100,000, that's almost
I
$2,000, bro. You know,
I understand. I
you know,
understand. If
people
you
are
have, I'm telling you, I had the same problem. If you say one word to them about anything, they feel as if you're automatically their client, regardless if they put the work in or not.
and this is
What?
why, and this is a that's why I said everything that I have been through is a learning and teachable lesson for me,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I already said, because this is what I told my builder. My builder and I, we're working hand. He's sending me videos now. He's at the property now doing some things. I told him, I said, this is why it's for us to do our due diligence and find our own land. That way we cut the middleman out. You know what I mean?
yes,
We cut the middleman out completely. And I told him, I said, moving forward, because I am contracted, connected with other realtors, and we have signed contracts. It's one thing if you're doing real estate and
right,
you're coming to me with your property, then I don't have a
right.
problem splitting the commission with you. You see what
That's
I'm saying?
right,
That's different. But you're not
right,
you're not a real estate agent. One, you just
right,
gave us the contact. So I don't feel like you were deserving of damn near half of the profit, right? So I
right,
told my builder, I said, moving forward, I didn't already got contracts typed up in English and in Spanish, because if anybody's giving if you're not a real estate agent and you're giving us a contact, I got a contract that says that I'm willing to pay you a finder's fee. You see what
right,
I'm saying? Not
right.
not half. Not
Well,
half.
just like you got the money from the owner, that's where they should be getting the money from.
I
Why are they trying to
Clint,
get it from the agent?
I said the same exact thing. I said the same exact thing, because now I'm like, yo, I'm going down there on Friday. We need to have this figured out before I get down there. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because you don't think for once, that you're gonna get the 100,000. But these are the kind of pros and cons that you got to deal with. In Dominican Republic.
I let me share one thing from you.
It's crazy.
lost a friend like that. I lost a friend like that when I was first looking for land. He wanted to take me all over the place, and naturally, he was taking me to his family lands and all of that, which I declined. You know what I mean? And he was supposed to be doing it as a favor. But then he went behind my back and said that I was cheap and I didn't give him nothing. So I says, "Hey, for taking me around, here's $100." So So anyway, fast forward a year or two goes by. Then he finds out that I brought some land on my own, and he come to me and tell me that I owe him money because he was, what I mean, he feels as if he deserves something because he was originally working with me. I says, well, in the 2 years, what did you show me? What did you bring me? You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? It's just like looking through a real estate book. You're dealing with multiple real estate agents. You're dealing with multiple listings. Ever who out on top comes out on top. I
Hmm.
mean, the way they think that just because you talk to them, you got to pay 15, 16 people. It's
Right.
craziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Every
mean? I wouldn't
e-
worry about it.
Everybody's got their hand out. But when you was talking about you see a drop in the prices, what makes you think that?
Nah, no drop in the price. I
Uh-huh.
said a push
I mean a push, my bad, a push.
limited, a
Uh,
push
uh-huh.
for to buy,
Uh-huh.
a push to buy because there's limited space. If you look all the way from Congrejo, they got that new street going on over there. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a new street over there, all
Yeah.
from Congrejo all the way to almost to Playa Dorada.
Uh-huh.
There's a new street on that side. That's the old sugarcane field. And
Uh-huh.
from my understanding, Vendil and J-Lo is supposed to be putting 4,500 houses back over there.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So
They are.
all the way from uh, all the way from Villa Linda, what do they call that? Playa Linda, all the way up there, coming
Uh-huh.
through Sosua, past the Seahorse, past the village, going
Mm-hmm.
through Taramicos, going
Uh-huh.
through. There's no more land. It's all brought up. They got to go up.
Uh-huh.
They have to go up. As you see at that top of the hill, they put so many apartments right there on the left hand side. You see them right there at the
Yeah.
top of the hill
Yeah,
on the
I
way
seen
out of
him.
Sosua.
Uh-huh.
Now, that's just telling you, the next step is bending around that corner.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as
Uh.
they bend around that corner, I'm going to be waiting for them. You know what I mean? That's why That's why I'm not throwing a lot of money into the marketing. These people have a lot of money with the marketing, and they have those connections overseas with the
Uh.
Russians and the foreigners and the
Mm-hmm.
Canadians. They have their own platform. I'm dealing
Mm-hmm.
with a lady that's kind of like a cousin, and we're just laying low. And as we get the money, we're improving upon the project. So I have to work at her pace
Uh-huh.
also. But there's no place prettier. There's no place that will give you a deal where you can feel as if you're not being taken.
Uh-huh.
Everything is negotiable. We got a number of different ways that you could uh, buy this land. You can
Uh-huh.
rest assured that the dislinde is in order. You
How
know,
much how much
and
you how much you talking per
per meter.
uh yeah, how much you talking per meter?
Well, we haven't went up, you know. It went
Okay.
up a little bit, what I mean,
Because
over
I
the
know I
last
know
2 years.
before it was what be back then it was what
$90.
one $90.
No,
Okay, it
we're
was
at $90. We're at
90.
ninety
Okay, well
dollars.
that's the going price, 85 to 90.
Yeah,
That's the going price in Puerto Plata. It really
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um
we also have 50% down and 50% in 6 months.
okay.
So,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I want you
Okay.
to feel confident in your buying abilities because I want to leave a paper trail so you feel comfortable,
Right.
by going back home and sending the money through, by wiring the money over to a lawyer, and then the money will be dispersed from the lawyer. So there's
Uh-huh.
a nice money trail on the
Trail.
back
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
You don't want to give
That's
nobody.
important.
What about that lady up in Luperon? You ever heard from her? Remember that lady that brought that property way, way out there?
Oh
We thought
man,
she got.
yeah. That was a she made a huge mistake, man. I haven't heard from her or her husband, and I
Yeah,
was genuinely concerned, about that because
yeah,
they didn't trust you, they didn't trust
no,
me, and they ended up getting screwed, because let's just face it, we would never send somebody all the way out there.
no,
Luper
no.
Luperone is it's a nice place. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it's not developed to whereas I would send somebody out there to purchase property. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and,
Yeah,
and you
you
have to
know.
listen. You have to listen, and when I throw a few things at you that that calls things into question, you should listen. Like, where's the nearest hospital?
And her
Who
husband's
do
got
you?
health problems. He's got
Yeah,
health problems. I
yeah,
said that. I said he's on high blood pressure medication. He's got bad water retention. Something happens to him, you will die trying to get to the nearest hospital.
yeah.
And when you guys are looking at land and searching for properties, you have to factor in your lifestyle. Like what is it that you need in order to keep yourself sustainable?
Well,
In
what is
terms of your
mandatory? It's not what you need; is what is
then
mandatory.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
like airport. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
like the hospital. You know what I mean? Like a decent power grid.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like connections uh, as far as political and police is concerned.
Uh
You
huh.
know, and friends. You need some friends. You
And
just can't just throw yourself out there in left field when everything's, telling you no. And another thing, she was got this land, what that was built. She was going to build on top of coral.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That would have cost a mint just to try to excavate that tough rock. How you going to go through all of that? These are just the little things that I wasn't going to charge her just to
Uh-huh.
tell her that, hey, I wouldn't do that just by pulling her coat.
Right.
So, but you know, people get hard headed. They think that that I'm trying to beat her for a taxi ride, and what I mean. And here you are, get ready to blow $100,000. You know what I mean?
I've never heard from them since, man.
Me neither.
And the thing is, even though you didn't, you decided to go through somebody else, I still
Right.
genuinely reached out to them just to see if everything was okay. You
I
know,
too. I did too
um,
a number of times,
uh,
just to, what I mean. I hooked her up with my one of my lawyers to
I
try
did
to go
too.
up there to, kind of research it and maybe, put a light on this person that scammed this money, see who wrote that contract up and everything like that. And,
Mm-hmm.
you get on, you got to strike while the iron's hot if you got beat, you know what I'm saying? And
Right, right.
she was too concerned about the lawyer going up there for $250.
Listen, I'd rather take a $250 loss than we're talking about thousands of dollars here. You know what I mean?
80,000, 80,000, and that was
Yeah.
just one piece of it.
That's how much they bought that land for. Was what? How much was it?
Now it was supposed to be 110 or 120,
Oh,
and
see,
they
they
threw
lied
down
to me. They didn't.
80.
They didn't want to tell me. They didn't want to tell me the real price only because they know they got stiffed. They didn't.
Yeah,
But it is what it is.
it
Let
was
me
for
just re.
three
Let,
thousand meters.
let me let me just read some of these comments here. I
Yeah.
bought land in Congrejo HR. You did a that was a great move, man. If you bought land in Congrejo, that was a great move. Yeah, great
I want to say
investment.
something about that. I want to say something about Congrejo. You
Wait,
know,
hold on. Before
that
you go
that
there, hold on. Before you go there, let me just read some more of these comments, and then you'll touch
all right.
Congrejo. Um, hey Jay, what's your take on Casa Linda? We'll get there. The area is going to boom. Vin Diesel is building his movie studio right there. Jay, great guest. You are a world of knowledge, sir. I appreciate that. So go ahead. Go ahead about Congrejo.
Well, as you know,
Oh no,
Sosua
I'm okay.
is
Thank you.
Sosua is a tourist area,
Hmm.
right? So being back up in El Coupe, that's off the beaten path. So we're not being taxed at all.
No,
There's no
no,
tax. And I
no.
think the tax start at 175 or 185,000.
Yeah, yeah.
They might do a 1 or 2%. But when you're in these tourist zones and you do build, you will be taxed.
Uh,
So I would say that Congrejo is a local. It may not be, but as these buildings and these hotels, close in on you, you look out for that.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, this movie studio, Porto, Sosua is expanding.
Hmm.
So that's all going to be all beachfront is going to be considered a tourist zone soon.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then you'll and even with the permit fees and all of that stuff, when you're in zoning areas, you pay more. You pay more
Oh,
when yeah,
yes,
you
yes,
pay more in
yes,
zoning
yes,
areas. This
yeah,
is why I try to stay clear from that. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
even with my house, they haven't come up there. They have no idea what's being built up there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And by the time
yeah.
they get up there, a house it'll be done. So I avoided all of that shit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're gonna sell your other house. You're gonna get rid of that.
Nah, I got cold feet, man. When I got back home and started thinking about it, only because Clint, I got two motivated offers, but
Yeah.
I'm like, let me sit on it and enjoy it for a while. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Nah,
let
nah.
me
Let
sit.
it go. Let it go. Don't fall in love with it.
Uh,
That's the first
uh,
rule about real
Biz,
estate. Don't
you're the
fall in
second.
love.
You're the second person that said that. You're the second person that said that. Uh, I don't know.
I
I'm
got a
having.
proposition. I got a proposition for you too. And I got a proposition for anybody, any one of your followers out there. You know what I mean? Which I told you, and which some people think that I'm lying. But I got free land.
You said,
Free.
okay.
Free. Free.
All right.
Free
So let's
land.
talk about this free land. I like anything free. Let's talk about it.
But
Let's
it
talk
has a
about
catch. But it
it.
has a catch. It
Okay,
has a catch.
I know it's a catch, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the land is mine. I have
Okay.
500 square meters, which is in the Golden Eagle Homestead uh, project in La Bohia. If
Uh
you
huh.
look on my YouTube, Golden Eagle Homestead Services, you can exactly
Excellent.
see everything that I'm putting down.
Uh
This
huh.
free land, if you build on this land, and you would have to probably put maybe some type of an apartment building, maybe two, three, four, or five apartments. It'd be up to you.
Uh
All
huh.
I'm asking for is just one
Apartment.
apartment.
Just one
Yeah,
apartment.
just one
Wow.
apartment, and I will give you the land in your name. So if you buy, I have some property. I mean, I have some footage on my YouTube about a 6 bedroom unit. If
Uh
you
huh.
put 6 bedroom apartment building there, that means you would have six of them. I mean, five of them for sale at 200,000 a piece. That's $1 million.
So my thing is to you is why don't you just do a project, man? Why don't you just do a project?
What do you mean by that?
Start your own project.
Well, because you know, what I mean, things are moving fast. You
Uh
know, I
huh.
got a lot of different ideas out there. I'm also waiting for the technology to turn
Uh huh.
because I came in on this M2 technology thinking that I was going to build with the styrofoam and the plaster build.
Yeah,
That's
I've seen that. I've seen that. But hold on, before we go any further, it's
okay.
15 of you guys in this chat. I'm gonna need y'all to hit that like, hit the share, and hit the subscribe. There's no reason why I should have 4 likes and 15 of you guys in here. Young baby's got a question. What's your question, young baby? Let me know. Go ahead, Clint.
So as I throw that out there, like I said, I have the blueprints done already,
Uh-huh.
ready to roll on a 250 square feet beautiful villa that I had done. Then, the prices went up and I slammed my brakes on
Okay.
you know then what I mean, I said to myself, I just turned, I'll be turning 65.
Hmm.
So I said I have to really make the proper decision because I didn't want to build too fast and then liquidate a lot of my money, and then I'll
Hmm.
be stuck inside 500 square meters trying to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
So I laid back and, flipped some of this money a little bit more. Now I'm in a better position. So
Okay.
as I'm waiting for this better position, the technology is moving so rapid. They have these boxable kind of not the boxable name itself, but these prefab houses that I'm looking at.
Uh-huh.
Some of these prefabs are nice. All you got to do is just set it down,
Yeah.
because
I've
all I
seen them.
really all I really want is just like you, just somewhere just to lay my head. I don't
Hmm.
really have to be that fancy for real, you
Uh-huh.
know. And some of these boxables, you can almost squeeze them in like accordion and leave. There's
Uh-huh.
nothing to steal. There's nothing to take.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Small footprint. And you can drop it, and one day you're done. And then
So
if you
but
go
when we're
ahead.
talking about hurricane proof and shit like that,
Yeah, well, who
it
cares
is
for
it
$25,000?
shit, I care. If a hurricane come, I don't I listen, I don't I want to make sure the structure is going to withstand a hurricane, you know?
Yeah, but if the right hurricane came in, nothing you gonna do anyway. But I'd rather lose
¿Qué es lo que?
25,000 than 225.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you know, some of those houses are built right. You know, not I'm not talking about like a trailer, like what I mean, like a trailer or
Uh
nothing
huh.
like that with 2x4s. No, I'm talking about an aerodynamic design that's built with steel and it's aerodynamic. I'm not just talking about just a regular one, but you know, I'm exploring that. And every
Okay.
day they're coming out with
It was
something
something
that's
new.
different.
I've seen a structure made with like um these steel posts. My builder was like, nah, he's seen it. He's like, I guess you got some of these contractors and builders. They so old school. They don't want to step
No, no. Nor
outside of what they know. You know what I'm saying?
nor do they know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
Everything there
So
is block, 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 block,
right,
block, block.
right.
And I'm not a big fan of block.
Uh huh. A lot of people
Block
aren't. A
is
lot of
hot.
people aren't. You know what I was told? I was told because I have a Haitian buddy of mine who's building he's building something crazy out in Haiti, man. It's big, big, big villa. And he told me, he said, when you're done with the second level, he says when you do that roof, he said you don't want to make it too thick. You know what I mean? If in case a hurricane comes, he's like, because you'll die. He's like, you a lot of, I mean, an earthquake, I should say. He's like,
Yeah,
that's the only downside of building with cement block, well, a cement roof, I should say.
yeah. Well, we've seen
Having
that
that shit,
collapse of that nightclub.
exactly. It could be catastrophic to say the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there are other options. My even my builder, he told me, um, it's like this. It's not tarp, but it looks like tarp. You've seen that on roofs that they're doing. It's like it looks like tarp, but it's made. I don't know what kind of material it is, but my builder told me. He says, "Hey, listen, if you want to do, you can do this. That kind of material is cheaper." And I'm just like, I don't really want to do that. And
yeah,
another thing, how you doing, Booby? Another thing you got to worry about too is when you're building these flat roofs, you got to make sure that you have a good drainage system, where that water is draining out, because once that water keeps seeping into the cement, you're going to have problems, later on. So I
yeah,
tell people, make sure you have a builder that knows what they're doing when it comes to water distribution on your roof. It's very
yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah. And when they pour that roof, it got to be smooth inside.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Because if it's all off cockeyed, on the inside of your ceiling, it's going to look like crap anyway. And I seen a lot of people had to put up, wood ceiling panels because what I mean, they poured the ceiling in 2 or 3 pours, which put seams up in there. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Uh-huh.
So that roof has to be poured in one continuous pour to do it
Uh-huh.
right. You
Right.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that either. You
Uh-huh.
know, I
Mm.
I was going to do that because I wanted to terrace. That's the way my design is because I had a terrace on the top. But the more
Mhm.
that I think about it, I'm just going to do a small gable kind of roof which has a pitch, and then just put the clay heavy shingles on it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
but like I
Let me,
said, I'm trying to give it away.
you trying to give it away, huh?
I'm trying to
Uh,
give it away and just and they can give me a little 1 bedroom
well, shit.
flat.
Let's team up and do a project, man. Let
Yes,
me
yes. Well, that's what I'm saying.
let's do a project. I mean, we
I
can definitely we listen. All we got to do is because that's what I'm working on. With my other property. I already know. I listen. They do it all the time. They use other people's money. What do you think? How do
yeah,
you think these projects are getting done? Other people's
yeah,
money. You
yeah,
you
yeah,
you know what I mean? We got it's not like we don't have the land. We have the land. All we
yeah,
got to do is promote it get you know
Yeah,
get the architectural plans done, get a,
yeah.
a, a 3D model of what it's going to look like, and then you start getting people to buy into it. You know,
I have
I
it,
know.
bro. I have all that done because I thought like my buddies like you, they go in. My buddy cousin's over there right now. He goes in and out of there, in and out of there. He spends probably about $10,000 a year, but
Uh
yet
huh.
you can't throw 10,000 to a place that you're going to live free, to use for the rest of your life and
Uh
something to
huh.
pass on. You know what I mean? It's just his thinking is not in line with ours. You
Okay.
know what I mean? It
Let me.
doesn't
I
have
don't
to
want to
be
miss
grand.
anybody's questions.
Go ahead.
We gotta take little intermissions here because there's people
Go ahead,
asking us
brother.
questions. Young baby says, can someone buy a land in a project without the title? Because I have someone buy a land in DR, but she's not getting the title. They have to wait for this. Okay, so basically, he's pretty much saying that they're not giving the title because it must be a big piece of land. And when you're buying, if you're buying land where owners selling a lot of it, that title has to be broken up. You know what I mean? So you can't just,
First,
yeah, it has to be broken up first. So yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for her to get the title. If it's a lot of land and they're selling individual lots, it's gonna take a while to get that title. Yeah, yeah.
as an example, I was the first one to buy at my particular property. The lady said, "Go ahead, pick out what you want." She didn't know nothing about it. Then once I got, the surveyor involved, he had to, like I said, survey every last one of those and do all the measurements so you could take it off of, put it onto the Dislinde, onto the new Dislinde,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
record it.
Right.
That's one piece of,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so it has to be broken down and then sold in individual numbers, like lot number
Individually.
one, lot number two, lot number three, and each one of them
Three.
have a
Right.
number and a plat number. Each one of them
Mm-hmm.
has a map number.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that could take, what I mean, if a
A
lot of
year.
people want you to put the money up so they could actually some people don't even have the Dislinde. First, they
Uh-huh.
got to get it 100% survey
Yeah.
just to get that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got to pay again to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are trying to use your money just to get past those two steps
Steps,
so
right.
they
Because
can
they
sell.
right. And because they have to pay for all of that to get done. So your money is basically paying for that. you know?
And if it's a huge piece of land they own, it's going to be a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For them to do it. And you can kind of gauge that on how fast you think that you'll get it.
Right. And
Because a
and that could
lot of
take up to a
people,
year. That could take up to
more
a
than
year or
that,
more.
it could take forever
Yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of people are land rich and cash poor.
Right. Right. So there goes your answer for that, young baby. Now,
Yeah.
um,
But
Future World Film says that's a great point. Don't need any more blocks landing on the heads in DR. Yeah, and I think from that situation happening with that club, a lot of people are now building and starting to think twice about building like that. Only because you got to worry. You got to worry. And you better make sure that whoever's building your home is, like you said, Clint, doing it right, doing the poor right. Otherwise, it could be a catastrophe, man, to say the least.
yeah,
Um,
and yeah, yeah,
HR
for
HR
sure.
says, "Hey Jay, did your contractor draw up the floor plans for your house?" Yes, my initial contractor did. Yeah, yeah. Magulian just saw two of Clint's videos in Coupe Land. 2 likes for Clint.
All right, all right, all right. Get with me. 267-608-6093. And I'm basically a consultant. I don't charge any money for that. I just want to see us all win. You know, you froze on me, cousin. Anyway, while he's frozen, I'll tell you again. On my YouTube, it's the Golden Eagle Homestead Services on YouTube, and I do have a lot of information on how to buy tax deed here in South Carolina. I'm located in Barnwell and Bamberg County, South Carolina, and it's a unique place because we are one of the few places in this state that has a forfeiting process. And when I say a forfeiting process, is when the property does not sell at a tax sale, it's put on a separate list and then it is sold for what is owed. So that is definitely a way to get land uncontested just by paying the back tax, which is owed. That's in Bamberg County, and that's in Bamberg County, and that's in Barnwell County. All you have to do is go to the delinquent tax office or give the delinquent tax office a call in that county, and they will send you out the list. Or you can go to their website and you can see the land that is already deeded to the county, and it's readily available. I buy two or three of them every year, and most of them are no more than 600, 700, or maybe $1,000. I go in there,